is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. However, little known the feelings and views of such a man may be on his first entering the neighborhood. This truth is so well fixed in the minds of the surrounding families that he is considered the rightful property of someone or other of the daughters.
My dear Mr. Bennet, have you heard that J Garden is letterless? Do you now want to know who has taken it?
As you wish to tell me, I doubt I have any choice in the matter.
Sir William says that J Garden is taken by a young man of large fortune from the north of Shanghai. He came down on Monday to see the place and was so much delighted with it.
What is his name?
Bingley.
Billy!
Is he married or single?
Oh, single, to be sure, my dear. What a fine thing for our girls.
How so? How can it affect them?
Oh, how can you be so tiresome? You must know that I'm thinking of his marrying one of them.
What are...
Is that he designed in settling here?
Design? Nonsense! How can you talk so? But it is very likely that he may fall in love with one of them. Therefore, you must go and see Mr. Billy when he comes.
You and the girls may go, or you may send them by themselves, which perhaps will be still better. For as you are as gorgeous as any of them, Mr. Bingley may like you the best of the party.
You flatter me, my dear. I certainly had had my share of beauty, but when a woman has 5 grown-up daughters, she ought to get over thinking of her own beauty. Mr. Bennet, you must indeed go and visit Mr. Bingley as soon as he comes into the neighborhood.
Who? Billy!
Even Sir William determined to go. Therefore, it will be impossible for us to visit him if you do not.
I will send a few lines to assure which girl he chooses to marry, though I must throw in a good word for my little Lizzie.
Lizzie is not a bit better than the others, and I'm sure she's not half so beautiful as Jane, nor half so beautiful as Lydia, but you are always giving her the preference.
They have none of them much to recommend them. They are all silly and ignorant like other girls, but Lizzie has more of cleverness than her sisters.
Mr. Bennet, you have no compassion to my poor nerves.
You mistake me, my dear. I have high respect for your nerves. They are all my old friends these last 20 years.
Ouch! Hey, what are you doing? Keep it quiet. Hey.
I hope Mr. Bingley will like your accessory.
We're not in the way to know what Mr. Bingley likes since we're not to visit.
But you forget Mama that we shall meet him at the assemblies, and Sir William promised to introduce him. When is the next ball to be? Tomorrow from 9.
So it is, and Mrs. Long will not be back till the day before, and it will be impossible for her to visit him, since she will not know him herself. Oh, I'm sick of Mr. Bingley.
I'm sorry to hear that, but why did you not tell me before? If I had known as much this morning, I certainly would not have called on him. It's very unlucky. But as I have actually paid the visit, we cannot escape the acquaintance now.
Oh, Mr. Bennet! What an excellent father you have, girls! Lydia! Though you are the youngest, I dare say Mr. Bingley will dance with you at the next ball.
Mrs. Bennet could but see one of her daughters happily settled at J Garden, and the others equally married, she should have nothing to wish for.
Of the painted peacocks is our Mr. Bingley.
Well, he's on the right, and on the left is his sister.
And the person with quizzical brow?
Oh, that is his good friend, Mr. Darcy.
He looks miserable, poor soul.
Miserable? He may be, but poor, he most certainly is not.
Tell me.
$10,000 a year, and he owns half of Chongming District.
The miserable health?
Darcy, I must have you dance.
I certainly should not. It would be the punishment for me to dance for a stranger.
You're too fastidious. I've never seen so many pleasant girls in my life. Some of them are uncommonly pretty.
You are dancing with the most handsome girl in the room.
Isn't she? She's the most beautiful creature I ever behold. But there's one of her sisters sitting just behind you. She's also very pretty. Do let me ask my partner to introduce you.
Which do you mean? She's terrible, but not handsome enough to tempt me. Go back and enjoy your partner's smile. Stop wasting your time with me.
Me? Tolerable?
Mr. Bingley is just what a young man ought to be. Sensible, good-humored, lively. And I never saw such happy manners, so much ease with such perfect good breeding.
Oh, he is also handsome, which a young man ought likewise to be, if he possibly can.
I was much flattered by his asking me to dance a second time. I did not expect such a compliment.
But that is one great difference between us. Compliments always take it with surprise, and me never. He could not help seeing that you were about 5 times as pretty as every other woman in the room. I give you leave to like him.
Dear Lizzie,
I never heard you speak ill of him in being your life.
I would not wish haphazard comments on anyone, but I always just speak what I think.
I know you do, and it's that which makes the wonder. Do you like this man's sister too? Their manners are not equal to his.
Certainly not at first, but she is very pleasing woman when you converse with her. Miss Bingley is to live with her brother and keep his house, and I would be much mistaken if we should not find a very charming neighbor in her.
I'm not so convinced, but as you say, Mr. Bingley is just what a young man ought to be.
My dear Mr. Bennet, we had the most delightful evening, a most excellent ball. I wish you had been there. Jane was so admired. Everybody say how well she looked. And Mr. Bingley thought her quite beautiful and danced with her twice. She's the only creature in the room that she acts a second time. First of all, he danced with Miss Lucas. However, he did not admire her at all. He seemed quite struck with Jane when he going down the dance, so
For God's sake, say no more of his partners. If he had had compassion for me, he would not have danced so much and had his ankle sprained in the first dance.
Wait, carry on, Mr. Bennet. Anyone would think our girls look forward to a grand inheritance. When you die, Mr. Bennet, which may in fact be very soon, our girls will be left without the roof over their head, nor a penny to their name.
Oh, Mama, please. It's 10 in the morning.
I refuse to hear anything about my funeral.
Mr. Darcy was not so worth listening to as his friend, Mr. Bingley, is he? Poor Lizzie, to be only just tolerable.
I beg you will not put it into Lizzie's head. So be bothered by this ill treatment. It would be quite a misfortune to be like by him. Lizzie not pretty enough to dance with. I wish you had been there, Mr. Bennet, and given him one of your sit down. I quite not like the man.
I danced with Captain Carter twice. I hope to see him in the course of the day. He's going to Beijing next morning.
And I danced with Mr. Denny, Song who is to be the militia headquarters for the whole winter. And I know all the officers' names and connections.
From all that I can collect by your manners of talking, you must be two of the silliest girls in the country. I have suspected sometimes, but now I'm convinced.
I'm astonished, my dear, that you should be so ready to think of your own daughter, silly. If I could think slightly of anybody's children, it should not be of my own.
If my children are silly, I must hope to be always sensible feet.
I heard Mr. Bingley inherited the property to the amount of nearly $100,000 from his father.
Here's a letter addressed to Miss Bennet, madam, from J. Garden.
Well, Jane, who is it from? What it is about? Make us and tell us. Oh, happy day!
Tell us! It's from Caroline Bingley. My dear friend, if you're not so compassionate as to dine today with me, we shall be in danger of hating each other for the rest of our lives. For a whole day's day.
What's a didade?
Means cozy chat.
Her brother will be dining out.
Dining out? Very unlucky.
Can I take the rickshaw?
It is unaccountable of him. Dining out, indeed.
Mama, please. The rickshaw for Jen.
Of course not. She will have to ride the bicycle.
Bicycle?
Because it seemed likely to rain, and you will have to stay the night.
Mother!
Jane has not gone for long, and it is raining hard. I feel uneasy about it.
Now she'll have to stay the night, exactly as I predicted.
Good grief, woman. Your skills in the art of matchmaking are positively occult.
Good morning, Miss Elizabeth. A letter from Jade Garden.
Thank you. My dearest Lizzie, I find myself very unwell this morning. My kind friends will not hear of my return until I am better. There is nothing much wrong with me. Yours, Jen. This is ridiculous.
Well, my dear, if Jen does die, it will be a comfort to know it was all in pursuit of Mr. Bingley.
People do not die of little trivial and cold. I will go and see her if I could have a rickshaw.
Since there won't be any rickshaw and there is no bicycle left, walking is my only option.
You are being appropriate to be seen when you get there.
I should be very appropriate to see Jen, which is all I want. The distance is nothing when one has motive. Only 3 miles. I should be back for dinner.
I admire the activity of your kindness, but every impulse of feeling should be guided by reason. And in my opinion, exertion should always be in proportion to what is required.
Lizzie, are you really going to walk along, crossing the fields?
Yes, for Jen, I have no choice.
Miss Elizabeth Bennet.
Good morning. Please pardon my appearance. May I inquire after my sister?
Miss Bennet slept ill, and though are been very feverish and not well enough to leave her room. Did you walk here, Miss Bennet?
I did.
You'll want to be taken to your sister immediately. Alfred, please show Miss Bennet to her sister's room.
Thank you.
She looked positively wild. Why must she be scampering about the country because her sister has a cold? And her shoes. I hope you saw her shoes, all covered by mud.
Your picture may be very secondly, but this was all lost upon me. I thought Miss Elizabeth Bennet looked remarkably well when she came into the room. Her dirty shoes quite escaped my notice.
You're observant, Mr. Darcy, I'm sure, and I'm inclined to think that you would not wish your sister made such an exhibition.
Certainly not.
I mean, to walk 3 miles or 4 miles or whatever it is above her ankles in dirt, alone, quite alone. What could she mean by it? It seemed to me to show an abominable sort of conceited independence.
It shows an affection for a sister that's very pleasing. What do you think, Darcy?
My mind was totally engaged. I've been meditating on the very great pleasure in the face a pretty woman can present.
Wow, I am all astonishment. How long has Miss Elizabeth Bennet been such a favorite?
This is exactly the question I expect you to ask. A lady's imagination is very rapid. It jumps from love to marriage, from love to marriage in a moment.
I have an excessive regard for Miss Jane Bennet. She is really a very sweet girl, and I wish with all my heart she will be well settled. But with such a family and such low connections, I am afraid there's no chance of it.
If they had the most ungraceful relatives in the world, it would not make them one jot less agreeable.
But it must materially lessen their chances of marrying men of any consideration in the world.
I feel such a terrible imposition. They're being so kind to me.
Don't worry. I don't know who is more pleased at you being here, Mama or Mr. Bingley. Oh, Mr. Bingley, thank you for tending to my sister so diligently. She is in far better comfort here than she would have been at home.
It's my pleasure. Sorry. It's not a pleasure that she's ill. Of course not. It's a pleasure that she's here. Do you prefer reading to Mahjong, Miss Bennet? That's rather singular.
Miss Elizabeth Bennet despises mahjong. She is a great reader and has no pleasure in anything else.
I deserve neither such praise nor such criticism. I'm not a great reader, and I have pleasure in many things.
In nursing your sister, I'm sure you have pleasure, and I hope it will be soon increased by seeing her quite well.
Thank you.
Is Miss Darcy much grown since spring? Will she be as tall as I am?
I think she will. She is now about Miss Elizabeth Bennet's height, or rather taller.
How I long to see her again. I never met with anybody who delighted me so much and so extremely accomplished for her age. Her performance on the lute is exquisite.
It is amazing how a young lady can have so many passions to be so very accomplished as they are.
Oh, young ladies, accomplished. My dear Charles, what do you mean?
Yes, all of them. I'm sure I never heard a young lady spoken of for the first time without being informed that she was very accomplished.
I cannot boast of knowing more than half a dozen in a whole range of my acquaintance who are really accomplished.
A woman must have a thorough knowledge of music, singing, drawing, dancing, and modern languages to deserve the word. And beside all this, she must possess a certain something air, a manner of walking, the tone of her voice, her address and expressions, or the word would be but half deserved.
All this she must possess, and to all this she must yet add something more substantial, the improvement of her mind by extensive reading.
I'm surprised at you knowing only 6 accomplished women. I really wonder now at you knowing any.
Are you so severe upon your own sex as to doubt the possibility of this?
I never saw such women. I never saw such capacity and taste and elegance and application as you describe united.
Miss Elizabeth Bennet, let us take a turn about the room. It's refreshing, is it not, after sitting so long in one attitude?
And it is a small kind of accomplishment, I suppose.
Will you join us, Mr. Darcy?
I will only interfere.
What can he mean, Miss Bennet?
The surest way of disappointing him will be to ask nothing about it.
I require an explanation of your motives, Mr. Darcy.
You either choose this method or pass in the evening because you are in each other confidence and have secret affairs to discuss, or because you are conscious that your figures appear to be the greatest advantage in walking. If the first, I will be completely in your way, and if the second, I can admire you much better from here.
Oh, shocking. How should we punish him for such a speech?
Laugh at him.
Mr. Darcy is not to be teased.
Are you too proud, Mr. Darcy?
That
Or
I
would you
couldn't
consider
say.
pride a fault or a virtue?
That I couldn't say.
Because we are doing our best to find fault in you.
Maybe it's I find it hard to forgive the vices and follies of others and their offenses against me. My good opinion, once lost, is lost forever.
Oh dear, I cannot teach you about that. What a shame, for I dearly love to laugh.
Family trait, I think.
Mrs. Bennet, Miss Bennet, Miss Bennet, and Miss Bennet, sir.
Oh, for heaven's sake, are we to receive every Bennet in the country?
What an excellent room you have, sir! Such expensive furnishing. Oh, I do hope you intend to stay here, Mr. Bingley.
Absolutely. I find the country very diverting. Don't you agree, Darcy?
I find it perfectly adequate, even if a society is a little various land in town.
Less very? Not at all. We dine with 24 families in no shape and size.
Mr. Bingley, you should hope to meet new friends. You could invite the militia
To hold the ball.
I'm sure when your sister is recovered, you shall. If you please, name the very day of the ball, but you will not wish to be dancing when she's ill.
Oh, yes, it would be much better to wait till Jane's well. And by that time, most likely Captain Carter will be at Songhu again. And when you have given your ball, I shall insist on their giving also. I shall tell Colonel Foster it will be quite a shame if he does not.
I think a ball is an irrational way to gain new acquaintance. It will be better if conversation instead of dancing were the order of the day.
Indeed, much more rational, but rather less like a ball.
Thank you, Mary.
The Bennett's car is ready, sir.
Thank you, Alfred. This way, Mrs. Bennet.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Bingley. Good day to you all.
I hope you will give your mother-in-law a few hints when this desirable event takes place as to the advantage of holding her tongue, and if you can compass it, to cure the younger girls of running after officers. And, if I may mention so delicate a subject, endeavor to tell at little something bordering on conceit and impertinence which a lady possesses.
Have you anything else to propose for my happiness?
Oh, yes. That the portrait of your uncle and Aunt Phyllis be placed in the gallery. Put them next to your great uncle, the judge.
Why you're back? I sent a message that the rickshaw is not available currently.
We requested to use Mr. Bingley's car.
Oh,
I am glad to see the two of you home. The house was quite lonely without you. I hope, my dear, that you have ordered a good dinner today, because I have a reason to expect an addition to our family dinner.
who do you mean, my dear? Colonel Forster? Captain Carter? No, I know, Captain Danny. Or a new recruit? I know, it's Mr. Bingley, and I'm sure I'll be extremely glad when I saw him. Lydia, ring the bell. I must speak to Mrs. Hill this moment.
It is not Mr. Bingley. It is a person whom I never saw in the whole course of my life. His name is Mr. Collins.
The dreadful cousin?
Who's to inherit?
Oh, indeed, apparently. Even the teacups belongs to Mr. Collins.
When?
He may turn out as soon as he pleases. But why?
Because the estate passes to him, not to us, poor females. It is the law.
what a superbly featured room! And what excellent boiled potatoes! Many years since I have had such an exemplary vegetable. To which of my fair cousins should I compliment the excellence of the cooking?
Oh, Mr. Collins, we're perfectly able to keep a cook.
Excellent! I'm very pleased the estate can afford such a living.
Lady Catherine, your patroness. I think you said she was a widow. Does she have any family?
One daughter. The heiress of Rosines and a very extensive property.
Oh, that she's better off than many girls.
And what sort of young lady is she? Is she a beauty?
I have often observed to Lady Catherine that her daughter seems born to be a duchess, for she has all the superior graces of elevated rank. These are the kind of little delicate compliments.
How happy for you, Mr. Collins, to possess the talent for flagging with such delicacy.
Do these pleasing attentions proceed from the impulse of the moment, or are they the result of previous study?
They arise chiefly from what is passing at the time. And sometimes I do amuse myself with arranging such little elegant compliments. I always wish to give them as natural as possible.
Believe me, no one will suspect your manners to be rehearsed. Good night, Mr. Collins.
Mrs. Bennet, would you do me the honor? I think the time is right to speak about the most pressing issue. If ladies would be so kind and excuse us for a moment.
Yes, Mr. Collins. Good night, girls.
Mrs. Bennet, I have to inform you that the eldest Miss Bennet has captured my special attention.
Oh, Mr. Collins, unfortunately, it is necessary to hint you that the eldest Miss Bennet is soon to be engaged.
Engaged?
But Lizzie, in both age and beauty, will make anyone an excellent partner. Don't you agree, Mr. Collins?
Indeed.
Indeed.
Very agreeable alternative.
Oh, good night, Mr. Collins.
You too, Mrs. Bennet.
Poor Lizzie. Even for an old woman like me, Mr. Collins is still the sort of man who makes you despair at the entire sex.
After seeing Mr. Collins last night, I'm concerned to remain single for my entire life.
Yours, I believe.
Did you drop yours on purpose, Lizzie? Mr. Wickham is a surgeon.
An enchanted surgeon.
What are you up to, Lydia?
We just happened looking for some hairpins for the ball.
Shall we look for some hairpins together?
Oh, yes!
But I can be trusted. I have very pretty taste of hairpins.
Only a man truly confident of himself would admit to that.
No, it's true. And buckles! When it comes to buckles, I'm lost.
Oh dear, you must be the sham of the regiment.
Laughing, stop.
What do your superiors do with you?
Ignore me. I'm of next to no importance, so it's easily done.
Lizzie, lend me some money.
You already owe me a fortune.
Allow me to bleach.
No, Mr. Wickham, please.
I insist.
Look, Mr. Bingley.
Mr. Bingley.
Good afternoon, ladies. Miss Bennet.
Mr. Bingley, how do you like my ribbons for your ball?
Very beautiful.
She is! Look at her! She is blooming!
Lydia.
Be sure to invite Mr. Wickham. He's a credit to his profession.
Kitty, you can invite people to others' ball.
Of course you must come, Mr. Wickham. If you will excuse me, ladies, enjoy the day.
Do you plan to go to J Garden Ball then, Mr. Wickham?
Perhaps. How long has Mr. Darcy been guest there?
About a month. Forgive me, but are you acquainted with him, with Mr. Darcy?
Indeed, I've been connected with his family since infancy. You may well be surprised, Miss Elizabeth, especially given our cold greeting just now.
Well, I hope that your plans in favor of Song Hu will not be affected by your relations with the gentleman.
Oh no, it's not for me to be driven away. If he wished to avoid seeing me, he must go, not I.
I must ask, Mr. Wickham, what is the manner of your disapproval of Mr. Darcy?
My father manages a estate. We grew up together, Darcy and I. His father treated me like a son, loved me like a son. We bought with him the day he died. With his last breath, his father bequeathed me the rectory in his estate, for he knew my heart still enjoying the church. But Darcy ignored his wishes and gave to another man.
Good heavens, but why?
Jealousy. Well, his father loved me better, and Darcy couldn't stand it.
How cruel.
So now, I'm a perfect soldier. Too lowly, even to be noticed.
There must have been a misunderstanding between Mr. Darcy and Mr. Wickham.
Oh, Jen, do you never think ill of anybody? Well, how can Mr. Darcy do such a thing?
I'll find the truth from Mr. Bingley at the ball this evening. If it's not true, let Mr. Darcy contradict it himself.
Till he does, I hope never to encounter him. Poor unfortunate Mr. Wickham. On the contrary, Mr. Wickham is twice the man Darcy is.
And let us hope a more willing dancer.
A ball of this kind, given by a young man to respectable people, can't have any evil tendency. In fact,
Kitty, look at that officer.
in fact, I trust my cousin John will.
I think he's looking at me.
We are a tribute to the right course and not to any disrespect for her.
Not at all, sir.
Well, I'm going to dance with Mr. Wickham for half of the evening. And I will dance with him for the other half of the evening.
an immense pleasure to see you again, Mr. Bingley.
Miss Bennet,
Miss Bingley.
Charming.
I'm so pleased that you're here.
So am I.
And how are you, Miss Elizabeth? Are you looking for someone?
No, not at all. I was just admiring the general splendor.
It was breathtaking, Mr. Bingley.
Good.
I dare say I never met such a pleasant gentleman in all my years. Do you see how he dotes on her? Oh, dear Jane, always doing what's best to her family.
Charlotte!
Lizzie!
Have you seen Mr. Wickham?
No, perhaps he's still here. Lizzie, Mr. Wickham is not here. Apparently, he's been detained.
Detained where? He must be here.
Apparently, your Mr. Wickham has been calling some business to town.
May I have the next dance, Miss Elizabeth?
You may. Did I just agree to dance with Mr. Darcy?
I dare say you will find him very amiable, Lizzie.
It would be most inconvenient, since I have sworn to reject him for eternity. Oh, I love this dance.
Indeed, most invigorating.
It's your time to say something, Mr. Darcy.
Say, do you and your sister very often walk to Songhu?
Yes, we often walk to Songhu. It's a great opportunity to meet new people. In fact, when you met us, we just had the pleasure of forming a new acquaintance.
Mr. Wickham is blessed with such happy manners. He is sure of making friends. Whether he is capable of retaining them is less certain.
He's been so unfortunate to lose your friendship, and I dare say that is an irreversible event.
It is. Why do you ask such a question?
To make out your character, Mr. Darcy.
And what have you discovered?
Very little. I hear such a different accounts of you as puzzle me exceedingly.
I hope to afford you more clarity in the future.
Lizzie, is that Mr. Darcy of Pemberley in the Charming district?
I believe so.
I must make myself known to him immediately.
Oh, Mr. Collins.
He is the nephew of my esteemed patroness, Lady Catherine.
Oh, sir, he will consider it impertinence.
Mr. Darcy, Mr. Darcy, Mr. Darcy.
What interesting relative you have, Miss Elizabeth.
Clearly, my family are having a competition to see who can expose themselves to the most ridicule.
Well, at least Mr. Bingley has not noticed.
No, I think he likes her very much.
But does she like him? There are few of us who are secure enough to be really in love without proper encouragement. Bingley likes her enormously, but might not do more if she didn't help it on.
If he cannot persist her regard, he is a fool.
Oh, Lizzie, we are all fools in love. He doesn't know her character as we do. She should move fast, snap him up. There's plenty of time for us to know them after we are married.
Mrs. Bennet, I was hoping, if it will not trouble you, that I might solicit a private audience with Miss Elizabeth in the course of the morning.
Yes, of course, Mr. Collins. And I'm sure she will be very happy. And she can have no objection. Everybody out. Mr. Collins would like a private audience with your sister.
No, I beg you, please. Everyone can know what Mr. Collins wants to say to me.
No, nonsense, Lizzie. I desire you to stay where you are. Mr. Bennet?
But
Believe me, my dear Elizabeth, almost as soon as I entered the house, I singled you out as the companion of my future life. My reasons for marrying are...
I'm honored by your proposal, but I regret that I must decline it.
Lizzie. Nothing remains for me to assure you in the most animated language of the violence of my affection.
Let me do without further loss of time. Sir,
I flatter myself, my cousin, that your refusal is natural delicacy to me. Besides, you should take into account that, despite of manifold attraction, it is by no means certain that another offer of marriage may ever be met.
Mr. Collins!
So I must conclude that you simply increase my love by suspense.
Sir!
According to the usual practice of elegant female.
I'm not sort of female to torment the respectable man. Please understand me. I cannot accept you.
What? Mr. Collins, don't worry. We will deal with this little hiccup immediately. Elizabeth? Mr. Bennet, I need to talk to you.
I have not the pleasure of understanding you. Of what are you talking?
Of Lizzie and Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins is going to pursue Lizzie, and Lizzie declares that he refused Mr. Collins.
And what am I to do on the occasion? It seems a hopeless business.
Speak about it yourself. Tell Lizzie that you insist upon her marrying Mr. Collins.
Let her be cooled down. She shall hear my opinion.
Elizabeth!
I have sent for you on an affairs of importance. I understand that Mr. Collins has made you an offer of marriage. Is it true?
It is true.
Very well. And this offer of marriage you have refused?
I have, Papa.
Very well. We now come to the point. Your mother insists upon your accepting of it. Is it not so, Mrs. Bennet?
Yes, or I will never see her again.
An unhappy alternative is before you, Lizzie. From this day, you must be a stranger to one of your parents. Your mother will never see you again if you do not marry Mr. Collins. And I will never see you again if you do.
Thank you, Papa.
Mr. Bennet! Ungrateful child! I shall never speak to you again!
I don't understand. Why would take him from J Garden? Why would he not know when he was to return?
Read it, I don't mind.
Mr. Darcy is impatient to see his sister, and we are scarcely less eager to meet her again. I really don't think Georgiana Darcy has equal for beauty, elegance, and accomplishments. So much so, I must hope to hear after Cora, my sister.
Is that not clear enough?
Oh my God, he loves you. Do not give up. Caroline says that her brother is in love with you and has taken off to persuade him otherwise.
But I know Caroline is incapable of deceiving anyone. It's far more likely that he doesn't love me and never has.
Go to our aunt and uncle in Beijing, and I'm sure he will come to you. Charlotte!
Lizzie, there's something I want to tell you. This morning, Mr. Collins hastened to Lucas Lodge and entreated me to name the day that was making the happiest of men. Oh, Lizzie!
Engaged to Mr. Collins? My dear Charlotte, impossible!
Why should you be so surprised, my dear Lizzie? Do you think it incredible that Mr. Collins should be able to procure any woman's good opinion because he was not so happy as to succeed with you?
But he is ridiculous.
Oh, hush! Not all of us can afford to be romantic. I have been offered a comfortable home and protection. That is a lot to be thankful for.
My dear Charlotte,
I'm 27 years old. I have no money and no prospect. I'm already a burden to my parents, and I'm frightened. So don't judge me, Elizabeth. Don't you dare judge me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will have a 10-minute short break from now on. Please call back at 3:47.